Hello and welcome to Teens and Youth Corner with KC Eze. Today we're going to be discussing something very vital. It might seem basic and yet it is very fundamental. And I'm very sure it's going to bless you a great deal. It's going to be a huge, valuable addition to your effectiveness in ministering to young people in our generation. Let's start with some statistics. Do you know that there are over 1.3 billion adolescents in our world today? And of course, you know that that number keeps increasing by the day. What does that mean? That means that this group of persons, young persons, make up a whopping 16% or more of the entire population of the world. 16% of the entire population of the world is not a small number. What that automatically translates to is that you have young people all around you. They are everywhere. They are where you live. You see them around where you walk with them. All right. They are in your churches. They are in your environment, everywhere. And it becomes important to take note of these young people and how we are able to reach them. Okay. Defined by the United Nations, people who are called adolescents are people between the ages of 10 years old and 19 years old. And from personal experience, I can tell you for sure that this number, personally for me, I've given you the statistics of the United Nations. Personally for me, I think there's an adjustment to this number. I would personally make an adjustment to this number. In ministering to young people, whatever a 10-year-old knows in our generation, someone who is 8 years, 9-year-old can actually do or know those same things that people in 10-year, brackets are currently doing. And then when you get to the 19-year-old age, all right, people who are 20, 21, 22 up until 25 are also in the same bracket, all right, of these young people. And that personally I would put it at between the ages of 8, 9 years old to 25 years old thereabouts. And these are the age brackets of the people that you might want to look out for, to reach out to. They are in a peculiar state and stage of their life. All right. Now, one other thing you note about these people in this age bracket is that there's a lot of peculiarity with their age range. They are not children and they are not full-blown adults yet. Now, they are in the middle where their needs can easily be neglected. All right. Since they are not kids, they don't get all the attention that kids get. They are not adults. You can't easily let them fend for themselves, decide things for themselves and all of that. So it puts them in a very serious situation, a very, a point where they can easily be neglected and they can also easily be overloaded with things that they don't need, because some will assume they are adults. They aren't adults. They aren't kids. They are in between. Okay, now these things I'm telling you are going to help you a great deal in your relating with young people, in your ministering to them and getting desired results. All right, most adolescents' vulnerabilities and needs are distinctly different from those of children and therefore often remain unaddressed. Even the United Nations themselves agree to this fact, that these guys' needs are often left unaddressed and unattended. Now, there's so little the government of our day can do about these people. Very little. There's so little they can do to cater to their needs. Very little the government can do. Of course, you and I know that the government has a lot of things on their plates, and most times it's difficult for them to give detailed attention to what needs detailed attention. And that's where you and I come in. The question is there something we can do about ministering to these young people, or do we leave it to the government to take care of them as they want to and all of that? There's a limitation on the government, and that's why you and I are very, very vital pieces in ministering to young people, reaching out to them if they are going to turn out good and not turn out bad. All right, there's something you can do. There's something I can do. Now, there are 3 broad reasons I have found out why people get involved with ministering to young people. 3 broad reasons I have discovered. There might be more. You might discover more, or might have discovered more. But so far in my 18 years of ministry to young people, as at the time of this recording, there are 3 of them, broad reasons I've realized that is the motivation for people to get into ministering to young people? The first reason is that some people were raised with someone to guide them. While they were teenagers, while they were adolescents, they had people to guide them. They had people to mentor them. They had people to answer their questions. They had people to guide them aright. They had people to ensure that, they understood certain things as it was and didn't leave them any room to make mistakes. Even if they did make any mistake at all, it is very minimal compared to some other group of persons who didn't have the privilege of a mentor, a guide, a counselor in their lives. Now, this group of people are motivated to minister to young people because they simply want to extend a courtesy they enjoyed, a privilege they enjoyed to others. I'm in that category. I didn't grow up, wayward. I didn't grow up having a lot of regrets or having any regrets at all. I had the privilege of people right from when I was a child in the children ministry of our church, when I was a teenager, the youth ministry of our church. I had those big brothers, big sisters to guide me, check up on me, answer questions, point me in the right direction, take me along with them when they were going to conferences, programs, and meetings. And I was exposed to that early. A major motivation for me today in doing teens and youth ministry is because I see how I turned out. I turned out quite fine. And I know what made me turn out as fine as I think I did, even while I work to become better. And that's the same courtesy I want to extend to young people around me, young people in my generation. It's a major motivation for me. Now, I know there are people who get into it because they see the problems but I'm going to get to that shortly. So the first group of persons are people who, had a good childhood upbringing, had guides and mentors in their teenage age, and they want to extend this same courtesy, this same privilege to young people around them. The second category of persons are people who didn't have anybody to look out for them, who didn't have anybody to guide them, who didn't have anybody to, instruct them in the right way to follow in the way of the Lord, answering their questions. Basically or typically, whatever they know, they got to learn by themselves. They got to find out by themselves. Some of them made series of mistakes and then had to learn from those mistakes. And their motivation for getting into the teens and youth ministry is that they want to help other young people not pass through the struggles they went through, or go through the hurdles of life they went through before they realized what the right thing is. So they want to act as a bridge to help young people not go through circles of mistakes, bad experiences before arriving at the right destination. Now, one downside about making a lot of mistakes before you arrive at what is good is that not many people who have bad experiences and lack tutors, eventually end up good. It's just a minute fraction of them that end up becoming something good, learning from their mistakes. And if you check very well, at a point in those people's lives, they encountered something or encountered someone that helped recalibrate their mindset and their lifestyle, in the right direction. So not many people who don't have guides, not many people who don't have counsels around them, young people in this case, eventually turn out fine. This is where we come in. If we don't do what we ought to do with young people, we're going to lose a lot of them. We're going to lose a whole lot of them. And it ought not to be so. So first category of persons, people who had guides and tutors and mentors growing up to guide them in the right way. The second category of persons who do youth ministry are people who didn't have anybody to guide them. They figured out things on their own, and now they want to help others not go through what they went through before they find the right path. The third category of persons are people who are neither in the first nor in the second. They have a little bit of the first and a little bit of the second, but mainly people who are passionate about young people. Now, this passion of theirs could have come as a result of the kind of people they hang around with. For instance, if you hang around me for a long time, you are going to be talking young people as I'm talking young people. There's an influence transfer. There's a transfer of passion, a transfer of influence from myself to you, to whoever is hanging around. It works that way. Another way people can catch passion for young people is by impartation, by laying on of hands. It works 100% of the time. All right, you lay hands on somebody under a spiritual atmosphere, you impart a passion for young people. Usually it's stirred up as hands are laid, because God has already put that passion in them and it seems to be lying dormant all the while. So impartation can also stir that ability up. Another way people can get, passion for young people is by exposure to teachings. All right, when people listen to stuff consistently, there's a transfer of spirit, there's a connection between them and the spirit of whatever is being taught and whatever is being talked about, okay, that they can begin to walk in that light. So by exposure to the right teachings concerning young people, the need to minister to them, people can catch a passion for that and then begin to run with that passion. People can also catch passion for young people, all right, by being exposed to resources about young people. So the other part I mentioned is listening to teachings and all of that. And then there's the exposure to resources and materials concerning young people. You could read statistics, you could read findings, research, based materials that talk about young people, what they go through, how much help they need and how little help they have currently. And it could stir up something in you to do something in that direction. These are the third category of persons, people who didn't necessarily have someone holding their hands growing up, people who didn't necessarily pass through bad experiences, but people who caught a passion for young people by virtue of association, by virtue of resources, by virtue of impartation, by virtue of teachings, all right, by virtue of association. Okay, now the truth is, no matter your category, there is something you can do. Even if you are a complete newbie, you've never had anything to do with teens and youth ministry before, but you are listening to me right now, there is something you can do. There's something you can do. Okay, now if you had a helpful guide growing up, you had someone to hold your hand, you had someone to guide you through life, answer your questions, help get you through very serious situations and times in your life. Someone got you through. There's something you can do. What can you do if you are in that category? Extend the same courtesy to others. Whatever you were taught that helped you turn out fine, teach it to others. That's the same thing you can teach to other young people around you. Questions were answered for you. Young people today still have those questions you had when you were young. So make yourself available to answer the questions for them. It could be questions concerning relationship, questions concerning career, concerning leadership, concerning friendships, concerning family problems and backgrounds. They still have those questions right now. If you had questions when you were younger, young people have those same questions right now. And however you were helped growing up, extend the same courtesy to others. Someone took you out on retreats, someone took you out and had a conversation, a heart-to-heart conversation with you. Do the same for other young people. Someone asked you critical questions that you either had the wrong responses to or you didn't have any responses to, and then that provided a platform for the person to educate you and steer you in the right direction. Do the same for others. It's going to help them a great deal, just like it helped you. So I wrote here, I said, if you had a helpful guide growing up, you can simply teach them what they taught you. Okay, do for them what they did for you that helped you turn out fine. The needs of young people since you were once a young person hasn't changed significantly. It has not changed significantly. However, the strategy and style of meeting those needs may have long changed. It has actually changed. Okay, whatever strategy that they use to communicate virtues, principles, values to you, the strategy in itself has changed right now. The principles, the values, and all of that remain the same. It remains the same. Today you might need to do it over social media. Today you might need to take them out, all right, create the right environment around them based on what's obtainable in our generation currently, for you to be able to communicate the right values to them. I once took out a group of boys, took them to a restaurant, bought them food. We had a long discussion on the table while we were eating, and guess what? They told me everything about themselves. I mean, literally everything. Why did I say they told me everything? The next day I visited their homes. They live in the same area, so the next day I visited their homes, and guess what? Their parents, their mothers especially, in a bid to report them and their bad behaviors, their good and their bad, were telling me practically everything that these boys told me a day before. So they practically laid bare their lives to me. just because we went out in a safe space over a meal and then everything was flowing. It provided me the opportunity to make inputs into their lives. One of the results of that discussion was that one of them, who was a chain smoker, not cigarette now, smokes shisha, all right, made a decision there and then to stop smoking and to stop drinking. The effect was that immediately he got home that day, he got his shisha pot, broke it into pieces, did the video while he was doing that, sent it to me, and as I'm speaking to you right now, he has been completely free since then. That's awesome. It's mind-blowing, and there's a whole lot of testimonies waiting for me to share with you at the right time as to ministering to young people, just creating the right environment, same principles, same values, different strategies. Okay, so if you had someone helping you growing up, extend the same courtesy to others. The second group of people, if you didn't have a guide growing up, okay, simply pick the mistakes you might have made and share with them on those mistakes. Share with them the things you don't want them, the mistakes you made first of all, and then help them not make the same mistakes. So you see that you have a lot of resources in your hand based on your bad experiences to ensure that these young people don't make the same bad mistakes or have the same bad experiences that you had while growing up. So you have a whole lot of resources. There's something you can do. So whether you're in the first category or you're in the second category, there is something you can do to help young people. Now, the third category, people who are just plain passionate about young people, they are good guys, all right, may or may not have had bad or good experiences, as it were, in relation to teens, mentors, having guides and all of that. There's something you can do. Now, with resources touching young people, there's a whole lot of ideas, a whole lot of concepts you can pick from resources and materials written for young people and people, how to minister to them and all of that, that you can be a professional even without being on the extreme side of having someone who helped you, or on the other side of not having anybody at all. There's power in learning. What I'm basically doing right now is sharing knowledge with you. I can show you what to do, what not to do, and then when you apply the same principle, you will see the same results. There are many books. Go out in search of them. In the course of this teaching, in the course of this course, Teens and Youth Corner, I'm going to be recommending books for you that when you read it, your eyes are going to open. You don't need to know so much. You don't need to be born with it. If you are willing to be guided in ministering to young people, you are going to harvest massive results as well. You're going to harvest massive results as well. All right. So, these are the things you can do. So no matter the area where you fit in, no matter the category you fit in, there is something you can do for young people. Now, generally, irrespective of your category and inspiration for ministering to young people, if you never stop learning about young people, take note of these things I'm about to share with you. If you never stop learning about young people, you never stop learning about youth ministry, and you never stop following the leadership of the Spirit, okay, you will not run out of impactful ideas that will lead to testimonials of transformed lives in your ministry to young people. I mentioned 3 things. You never stop learning about young people, you'll never stop learning about teens ministry, and you never stop following the leadership of the Spirit. If you put these 3 things together, you are going to be a champion, a professional in ministry to young people. No kidding. All right, learning about young people. Who are they? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their needs? What are their issues? All right, these are all under learning about young people. Then learning about youth ministry. How should it be done? All right, there's the preaching side, there's the discipleship side, there's the follow-up side, there's the a lot of sides to youth ministry. So you learn about young people, you learn about youth ministry, and the most important of them all is that you follow the leadership of the Spirit at every point in time. See, every success you see around anyone doing youth ministry or doing ministry generally hinges on their ability to discern and follow the leadership of the Spirit. Teens and youth ministry is no different. there are peculiarities that the only thing that will get you through is how soundly and how, in tune you are with divine leading. That's what will get you through it. This is where your spirituality comes in. I'm going to share a whole lot more about, the youth minister and his spirituality in one of these teachings one of these days. Trust you are blessed. Do well to like, comment, and share with others. All right. Let me know if you have questions. Please do well to ask the questions, and I'll be more than pleased to answer your questions. Till I come your way next time, God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.